Hi everyone. I'm just not talking on purpose because I just wanted this to sink in, this picture, and that is kind of going to also set the agenda for the day. I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you for joining. Venki, how are you? Yes, today it's me after a very long time. Welcome. Hello, Yashi, how are you? Global solutions. Yes, it is a good idea. I know it is a little late in India. You guys are probably wrapping up dinner and about to hit the sack. So I totally don't blame you. So please watch it at your own leisure. Abhay Rajasthani, Radhe Radhe. How are you, sir? Sujata ji, thank you so much. Common man. Hello. Hello, hello. Okay. So I have a short and simple agenda today, and just going to explore a lot of what Sushant was reading, was thinking, and was actually trying to, convey through his actions, especially around books, especially around, his intellectual ideas that he was trying to, no matter what interview we are watching, it's just like a treasure trove of ideas. And so it's just so exciting. So I just want to explore a little bit of that. Sujata ji, Judy ji, and Saloni ji, thank you so much. I've been okay. Thank you. Thank you. Still a long way to go, but just life goes on. So thank you so much. So I'm going to keep this shorter also. Just so okay. So look at this picture right here, and if you see, this reminds me of his Asian Paints video, where he just takes us around a tour, and no matter which room he goes to, there is always a big stack of books all around him, somewhere, sometimes in the background, sometimes in the, in his vicinity, or sometimes he's holding it and just like musing through them. And if you see this book in particular, Sapiens, they're also coming up with a very, very nice graphic novel this October. Sapiens is Yuval Noah Harari. He's one of the most intellectual people in the world, probably in the top 50 in the world currently. He's, I believe, not even 45 years old. But Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari is, it's a must read, and so are some of his books, which are 21st Lessons for the 21st Century. That book is also equally great. So just by looking at, what his priorities are, and Is Your Neighbor a Zombie? So all these books and how he surrounds himself, you can tell a person by looking at his ecosystem. That's what they say, right? So you can see what his priorities are, obviously, surrounding himself by what matters the most. And if you see the thumbnail, I also added a word here. Let me see if I can pull it up. So I called him Meta Mind. So what I mean by that is, let me show you. Let me do this. So this is what I called him. It's one of those meta minds that we rarely see. He's kind of exploring his own thoughts, his own mind, and he is trying to verbalize it through his Twitter. So I was listening to one of his interviews, and where he says how he comes up with his tweets is, whatever is on his mind at that moment, he tries to verbalize them and just convey it through his thoughts. So, I'm sure a lot of celebrities who don't, who copy and paste whatever their PR is sending them, even without cross-checking for any typos or any kind of, they even seem to have things like, please copy and paste it on your Twitter handle kind of a thing. So if you know what I mean. So these, but a person like Sushant, how he was always making sure that he is conveying his thoughts and feelings in the most articulate way. Of course, for people like us, we can't understand his, intellect. So sometimes it feels a little mysterious and all that. So just once again, going back to this picture, I just want to, when I was exploring about this whole thing, I would like to still call these kind of sessions discovery sessions, because I am very much by no means an expert on what he might have been thinking or dreaming, or what his big ideas for us, for our collective humanity might have been. So I would definitely say that this is discovery phase for me. And I was thinking, instead of doing research on him in private, how about I just open this up here and see what you guys are thinking. Have you also heard of any of his books or articles or ideas, or what you guys think about how futuristic he already was? Back in 2018 and 2019, he was already starting to talk about coding, AI, and ML in a very, very scalable fashion. Like, he was talking about expanding it to the world. He was talking about giving free education to children. He was, one of his interviews, he says, I think it is the Asian Paints interview, I'm not sure, but it is again one of his very popular interviews. So he says that, he wants to be, what are his top 3 recommendations for books, and he actually doesn't name any one in particular in that interview. He just says that one must be reading school books religiously, and it reminds me of that interview where he says he's just a few years ago, I believe this was fresh off of his Manav's role, or he might be still in that Manav's role, where he says that, oh, I don't read books that much, or something to that effect. And he says that, are you talking about NCRT physics or some books like that? Wo to, I always read them and all that. So he jokes about that. And in just few span of years, he just becomes this intellectual bibliophile and just surrounding himself with books everywhere, and that too not your average regular chick flicks, or all those kind of soapy kind of novels or anything. These are actually really books that need some serious thought and everything. So again, one of his favorite authors, this gentleman who is Kurt Vonnegut, and I think he says it in one interview where he's like a huge fan of him, and he says Kurt Vonnegut is one of those guys. I read his books growing up, and also when I was in my 20s and 30s, just to try to understand why he was so widely popular and everything. And slowly over the years, I have found out what is so great about him. At least for me, what was just so fascinating about him. And Kurt Vonnegut's, especially this Slaughterhouse Five, it's like a World War II kind of half memoir, half fiction kind of. He weaves it in a way where the protagonist is actually trying to, he weaves it in a way that the book feels so chaotic, but yet if you observe how he is and he says at one point of time in the book that you're present in all moments of your life. Just to think about it, just to elaborate on that one, right? Let's do a sideboard here. I just want us to just his fascination with so you are present So just a thought, for all of us, why Sushant might be liking a person like Kurt Vonnegut and his writings is because you are present um, in all the moments of your life. So I feel like, in Slaughterhouse 5, there Kurt Vonnegut writes to that effect that we are somehow present in all the moments of our life, because whether we are thinking about the past or future, we are present. So I feel like, especially for me, because I am heavily into mindfulness and meditation practices, I like the word. I just love the word and the concept that yes, it is us, whether it is in the past or in the future, contemplating what we are going to be doing. We are always present with the idea of ourselves. And that's something I just wanted to go around with you. And, the book itself is just so non-linear. It kind of is like, he keeps jumping between his past and his future, and of course his present, and his life, autobiographical, semi-autobiographical actually. And I can see how Sushant would have liked something like this, because he's one kind of a person who will probably embrace why life is chaotic, and even in that chaos there can be beauty that can be found. So I think that's one of the things. And then so just that was one of the things that I wanted to talk about. His one of his favorite authors, Kurt Vonnegut. And the Slaughterhouse 5, if anybody wants to read, or any of his other novels, Kurt Vonnegut, they have been adapted as graphic novels for children, or just for youth and everything. And there, any form of Kurt Vonnegut is great. You just have to stay with the novels. It will take a while for you to get sucked into the narrative, but it's once you get into it, like science fiction-y kind of alternative universe kind of things, and just so metaphysical, and everything that Sushant would have definitely liked. A person who likes astrophysics or spirituality, he can, he thinks of he's a person who had a piece of land on the moon. So so just wanted to, as I was doing some research on him and his thoughts and ideas and everything, I wanted to open this as a discovery phase kind of a thing for anybody. If you have any ideas, please share with them, and I'll keep expanding them on future sessions, because this is something that I want to, think of my own dream projects, one of my dream projects, because I want to be able to decode how Sushant was thinking. Even if it's 1%, I will consider myself successful. So yeah, just so I keep thinking about his life, and how in a matter of years he was just able to master reading so much, and that too intellectually, so many intellectually challenging books. One of these ones, which was this one, I think this is one of the top 5 that he had mentioned. And if you see the names of all these people here mentioned, it's a collection of all these books. And if you can see, Steve Pinker, Richard Dawkins, Daniel Kahneman, he's a Nobel Prize laureate, so and finance expert. So Brian Eno, Richard Thaler, I believe Richard Thaler is also a Nobel Prize winner. And V.S. Ramchandran is, oh my gosh, I cannot even tell you the most underrated person, neuroscientist in the world, V.S. Ramachandran. I'm a huge fan of his, and Lisa Randall, Craig Venter, Matt Ridley. And if you see the collection of like how they have editorialized and put all this together, And this is literally new age thinking. If you can, they draw parallels between computational thinking, the processing speed of machines versus our brain that has evolved over millions and millions of years. It's just a fascinating, insights into all these legends, these thought leaders of the current world that we live in, and how we are. It's like this, we are living in two different. We are living online and we are living offline lives right now. So if you don't understand the technology world out there, you are definitely not, and you get carried away by what technology seems to be offering you, you might not be using your potential to the full. So, and that is where understanding your brain is so much important. And I think, Sushant, even though we were like at that, at 2017, 2018, 2019, we were still not completely with grips into understanding the technology disruption around us. He was already much ahead of the time. And he being in the kind of industry that is not really known for its intellectuals. Sorry to say, there might be some Bollywood folks who might be really smart. I can't think of anybody at the top of my head. But yeah, just so some of the books, and once again, I just want to put this up, and then slowly what we will do is in these kind of sessions, we will just weave through all the different kinds of things he is going to be talking. Okay, so let me do one thing. I have opened up his okay, so somebody in my Wednesday sessions here, in our Wednesday sessions here, had mentioned Intoxilectual book club of Sushant, and they asked me to decode it. And the minute somebody mentioned it, please mention it here in the comments if you are the person who told me that. I am so grateful for you, I can't even tell you. So this, if you see, of course, there are only 40 posts on Twitter where I can see his account here. Anybody wants the links, I can post them. I'll be happy to post them. They're right here. So if you see the book club, account managed by Sushant Singh Rajput, and this one, the Intoxilectual book club on Instagram. So just walk through for the next few minutes. If anybody wants to explore some of the books that are here, little by little, I just want to, of course, wherever he's always channeling his imagination and his curiosity. And, I feel like if anybody was there in the industry who understood the value of time and who was trying to do the most with all the time he had, like any spare time he had, I think that was Sushant. So, curiosity to read books, and curiosity and imagination, those are the two things that separate us from machines. And if we just understand that, and that's also my mission, to be able to teach kids that we cannot just outsource everything, our imagination and our curiosity and our creativity, to machines, because that is what makes us human. So again, so I can't read some of the books that he is reading, like I can't see the titles of them, but I have a fairly decent list of the books that he was reading from all kinds of sources. So if you know any books that you have validated and you have researched, I would love for you to please tell me. So this one, again, one of the, metacognition, as we were talking about metacognition, like how Sushant was so superior at thinking about his own thinking. I think that, this one, the emotion machine and common sense thinking, artificial intelligence, and the future of the human mind. Again, where he's saying that he's talking about how we can make machines think, and what all this noise about machine learning and artificial intelligence and all this is. Again, this is a book from Sushant Singh Rajput's bookshelf. Yeah, I think he mentions this as one of his top books as well, somewhere, The Emotion Machine. And understanding and labeling our emotions is so critical for us to arrive at our baseline quickly so that we can prime ourselves for learning. So that is the key, right? So if you can, when you're angry or frustrated or sad or even happy, you don't really necessarily are on the baseline for a good positive outcome. You're just like going to do something with your emotions. You don't fully nurture that idea, and you just are going to be predisposed to be like very short tempered, or like quickly you want to get some things done in your excitement or happiness. So understanding our emotions, and especially the word is called sensei. I don't know if how many of you have been able to hear that word. It is sensei robots are coming. So sensei robots are, they're saying that all robots need is just emotions and feelings, and then they will overpower us. So if we cannot let that happen, so it is important for us to be able to read our own feelings, label them, process them, so that we are prime ourselves for higher learning and personal growth and all that. So this is a great book. I have to be honest, I either speed read, I either Blinkist. There is a Blinkist app which condenses everything. I do Spark Notes, and I do podcasts. I don't do full books, especially if they are non-fiction, and if they are listicles, I just try to quickly condense and get the juice out of it quickly, because I just can't. I don't have the time, and I want to read as much as I can before I die. So that's my goal. Peter Thiel is also one of the most superior thinkers of our world right now. Peter Thiel, you should watch videos of his, and so he's, he gives, especially I like his work a lot and his podcast a lot, because I am an entrepreneur, and how it's almost like, how can you make yourself failure resistant, make competition irrelevant. These are all these kind of things and ideas that Peter Thiel is just unbelievable. So you can just even one half an hour video, just like Sushant's, like if you can watch Peter Thiel's, you will just get so much value out of it. It's just amazing. So again, this is also a book from his bookshelf. Not surprising at all. There you go. I think he has a chunky book here. Don't know if this is any kind of anything related to Cobain, but if you guys know Kurt Cobain, you might kind of know about his, he was a rock star. He was part of the Nirvana rock group, and he abuses drugs, and at 27 he just kills himself. So at 27 he was way ahead of his his music, his lyrics, and the way he was kind of a tortured genius, Kurt Cobain, and I'm not surprised that his music or anything must have been inspiring to Sushant, and reminds me of Sylvia Plath as well. Sylvia Plath, Sushant Singh read a lot of Sylvia Plath's poetry, and her autobiographical. I think there are a lot of books, semi-autobiographical of Plath. If you want to read, she also, unfortunately, she's kind of a tortured genius kind of a thing, and she puts it's kind of a sad ending, just like Cobain. She actually ends up killing herself by putting her head in the oven while her children are sleeping in the next room. So she was a fairly young mom. But she wrote so much in like a span of 5 years or something, just that people who live up to 70 or 80 don't even do as much. So Kurt Cobain and Sylvia Plath and all these people, Sushant read because they are geniuses in their own right, their writings, and just unbelievable. So yeah, so that's and if you notice, I want to also do a session on Sushant's t-shirt sometime, because it's just so, I don't think he, I wear a lot of free t-shirts that I keep getting because I'm like, chalo free t-shirt hai, chalo pen lete hain, or whatever, right? So, but he is like, everything he does has a reason. That's what I feel like. Yeah, so yeah, this guy, Tim Ferriss, is one of the juggernauts of lately. I don't know. He's just, I feel like he has become a little repetitive and a little too slow for me. Maybe because I speed read and everything seems to be in slow motion. But Timothy Ferriss is again, some of this, the Tribe of Mentors, the first one, the 4-hour work week, is much more powerful actually than Tribe of Mentors. I think Tribe of Mentors, he was just juicing, like he was milking his popularity in this. That's what I feel like, Timothy Ferriss. But nonetheless, if you are interested in extreme personal development, I highly, highly recommend you to please check out Tim Ferriss's 4-hour work week. And some of the things that when he interviews all these people, famous people of each industry, you will just notice that whether they are talking about their regrets or their life or their just anything that they are telling as life lessons for us, some of them are just fascinating. I remember reading about a parent who was so obsessed with his career. That gentleman, he ends up saying, the children, when they are at your house, just enjoy them. Just career. Nobody will ever say. Nobody will ever regret that I didn't work too hard. You know what I mean? So some of very thoughtful, life advice has come out of Tim Ferriss's interviews, and his podcast is just super popular. You can check it out. And lately for me, I think I've consumed so much of him that I am like, okay, I want to explore new things. So he's kind of become a little repetitive for me just because I've been following for a long time. So, okay. So, I don't know, man, this book right here. So everything I like, but this one, I was trying to get into it a few years ago, honestly, just because this gentleman who wrote it, he is, don't remember the name now, I can quickly search, but I believe that he was the guy who found out or was instrumental in finding out more about the DNA discovery and the double helix and all that stuff. So he was a very, very famous biologist. And this one is an old book, actually, like I believe like 40 years old or something like that. And this is again, it is memoir. It's a memoir. And I don't know, because he wrote it, he is German or something. He tries to write it in English, which is like, it's not easily, I can't read it so well. So I did not really get into this book, but it is very, very popular nonetheless. So, I mean, you're welcome to check it out. And, one day maybe we can have a debate on this. So. And this one again, wherever he is, Sushant's home library. Look at that. Volumes and volumes of books, and just happy. Again, you can tell the priority of a person by just looking at his, surroundings, right? Like, what do you need? A book. And what do they say about books? It's like a present that you can keep opening up over and over again. So, yeah, he is in a happy place, just hanging out with his books, and Yeah, who taught us that books are our best friends. Yeah. It's a present that keeps giving over and over again. I think this is some kind of a drawing book, like illustrations and like how to draw or some kind of a book. I remember him using it somewhere. And, he being the ambidextrous guy, what can we, expect from him? I'm sure he was learning literally to draw left and right. So, yeah, and he's just so cheerful and happy and just relaxed. So exciting to always see his pictures like this, where he's just with his childlike, just happiness. So exciting to see it. Oh, this one, I believe this one has been converted for every realm. Right now, I think for children, they have something for children now. They have something for adults. There's something for parents. They have something for everyone. Like Brain Rules is so popular that I believe. But somehow, for me, I feel like, of course, there is anecdotal evidence to everything that John Medina says here. But somehow, in the non-fiction personal development category, I just feel like these are like a little exercise. Don't use your drink water or sleep well, and female and male brains are different, and all these things, and chapters about them and all that. It's okay, ठीक है, मतलब it doesn't have to be a big gigantic book. That's what. But I think at the end of the day, people want research backed stuff. So I'm sure that is why it is a very big chunky book, because people just don't want to blindly believe that these are the things that you can do to take care of your brain health. So I think a lot of there's a lot of talk about memory, how to exercise and take care of your brain, how the importance of sleep is, and how men and women are wired differently, and all those things. So this one is also a great book. I would again, once again, rather just listen to a podcast and try to understand any takeaway tips for me. So that's just my style, but you might get into it. And there's a lot of anecdotal evidence, and this book is also great. And if you, this is kind of similar to what Jordan Peterson also wrote recently, like a few years ago. It's called 12 Rules of Chaotic Life, or Making Meaning of Life, or something like that. So he wrote, so Jordan Peterson is also a Canadian-based thought leader, and he is one of Sushant's favorite thought leaders. He has mentioned it many times, and Jordan Peterson actually wrote this 12 Rules for Life, Finding Order in Chaos, or something like that. So there also, it's a listicle book nonetheless, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of long and tedious and everything, but no matter what he's talking about in that book, he's always like self-care, just don't fall into the comparison trap, just do what is important and useful for you, like all those things that we often neglect. So 12 Rules of Life by Jordan Peterson also I recommend if you guys are interested in doing that. So once again, robotics, philosophy, sacred geometry. You guys might know what sacred geometry is. If anyone of you has explored any mandalas or anything like that, let me talk about mandalas just in 1 second. I'll just look at the comments. I'll take a break here and look at some comments, and then we'll continue. Let's see, 1 second. Okay. So I'm looking, 1 second, I'll just highlight this picture while we're talking about. Okay. Or this picture. Okay, so Judy, Santosh Kumar Singh ji, how are you? Very nice, Samir ji, PM, how are you? Okay. Okay, Judy ji, what a coincidence. I was checking the last book he read, Loaded, while trying to get it from the library first before ordering it. Oh, wow. Okay, very nice. I'm going to check this book out. I think I've heard about it. I'm not sure. I'll check my notes. Thank you for that, Judy. Shanti, how are you? Ushma ji, hello. Aditi ji, Viji, Sudhi, hello. Hello, world, VP. He suggested meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Yeah, exactly. So this is one of my, actually, where is my meditations? It's meditations is, oh, I moved it to the living room, but meditations is one of my top 5, 10 books in the world. Definitely, it's just and the Daily Stoic by Marcus Aurelius. Yes, and Marcus Aurelius, he being the king, and he discusses. So, talking about Marcus Aurelius, we need an entire episode. Actually, he's just yeah, and not surprised that Sushant actually suggested meditations and the Daily Stoic, because Marcus Aurelius is one of the legends of Greek philosophy and Greek personal development that came from that time. So just not surprised at all. Okay, so I'm going to have to note these. One of the books his brother-in-law referred to him, which he mentioned he would read, is The Lucifer Effect by Philip Zimbardo, and Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. Okay, so The Lucifer Effect. Okay, I'm going to check that out. And Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. I think there is a reason why Thinking Fast and Slow is one of the legendary books on how the mind works and how our decision making process works in general. So I think this is definitely a must read for any. Again, it's a very big book, but the main concepts are thinking fast and thinking slow. Is how do you make decisions intuitively, and how do you make decisions like quickly. So usually he says that whatever our gut says, like the first thing that comes to our mind is usually what is the best thing that for us. But sometimes what we do is then we start over analyzing it, make it such a tedious process, this whole thinking, and we just yeah. So I like the book, and of course Daniel Kahneman, being Daniel Kahneman, he's a Nobel laureate, and yeah, it's just it's great. So, okay, I'm going to look at Saloni ji. He was a seeker, always wanting to learn more and genius in real sense. He wanted to gather so much. Universe could not imagine. Yeah, how much knowledge and information he had. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, his mind seems to be a treasure trove, and yeah. Monica ji, welcome. Bhaskar ji. Okay. So Saloni ji, okay. So his mind was like a saint, search for beyond the boundaries. Yeah, absolutely. And he was pushing, and he was kind of rewriting the whole, boundaries, creating the boundaries. Sorry, I just hid myself there in the background. Okay. So funny that reading in this book now about being in present. Yeah, absolutely. Monica ji, yeah, my name is Rachana, and yes, thank you guys for answering, Monica ji. Yeah, absolutely, Saloni ji. I think he was always living in the present. He was living in the moment. Yes, so that's why Nobel, not Nobel. Did I? Yeah, I'm sorry. Did I misspell it? Yeah. So okay, as Nobel. Yeah. Yes. So let's see. Nipunji, Abhayji, welcome, welcome. Yeah, truly, yeah, these books go over my head too. Yeah, absolutely. And some of them are like just super intellectual, and yeah, they're just Nikki ji, Noshir ji. Noshirji, Varun Kapoorji is probably taking a break after today's live and he's probably working. He was a ferocious reader. Yes, absolutely. Amazing human being. Monica ji, yes, Varun is, I think he lives in the west coast of the US. So I believe it is just time for him to get to his work, I believe. So that's where he might be. Shamla Bhaji, Nipunji, used to have good knowledge on quantum mechanics. Yes, quantum mechanics. A lot of, metaphysics and quantum mechanics and astrophysics. I mean, I guess he's just Niruben Patel ji, Jai Hind. Thank you, sir. Niruben is, sorry, sir. Niruben is, thank you, Madam Ji. Okay, so AI is the future. My husband's current work. Yes, Om Shanti. Yes. Yeah, that is even the line I am in. And yeah, I can see that there's a lot of future for it. And without us teaching machines how to work for us, they're going to be pretty soon taking over. So that we cannot allow that to happen. So, okay. Yeah. So, yes. And he was always trying to decode some, equations and all kinds of algorithms and everything. It's just, yeah, so proud of him. Ashtarji, very nice to see you after a long time. To read, gain knowledge, to internalize, and then apply it to oneself, beliefs and learnings, to be in the moment and yet go beyond is visionary genius, Sushant Singh. Wow. Yeah, I guess, putting it into practice. I mean, how many of us actually read and put stuff into practice? That is amazing. And in one line, if you have to describe Sushant, I think this is it. So I just love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. So, yes, so Gutterwood is just very, very good at stealing, copy pasting, no original thoughts or ideas. So, Chantiji. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, even I feel like I just want to be like, have company of people like him, where you can just like literally look at the stars and talk about it, or like just explore our own meta thinking, like, thinking about our own thing. What are we thinking right now? How are we feeling about our past, our future? Like, it's just amazing. So yeah, please, anybody has any ideas for what we can do to continue this series, what we can do. This is kind of a discovery phase. As I was saying, let's just continue this, exploring his thoughts and his ideas and his vision. Maybe put some of his ideas into action, because one of the ideas that I want to put into action is whatever little money I make, I want to be able to also use that for my own personal training, personal growth, so that I can contribute more. And also the second thing is being able to give free education for anybody who, there's a lot of the equity of resources, especially in the tech space. Some of my kids have like 10 devices in their house. Some of them have like a cell phone on which the entire house has one cell phone on which they're coding. So if you can imagine that, so there's a lot of inequity happening. So we need to, do something for that. So one of his dreams was free education, and that's what I also want to do, contribute to as much as possible. So yes, Monica ji. So Sylvia Plath is one of the ladies that I was, the poets of, I believe this might be a story which is at least 30 years old, if not more. But yes, she kills herself. There's some kind of mental health issue as well, because she's kind of a tortured genius kind of a lady. And if you read her books or her memoirs or her short stories or poems, I mean, Sylvia Plath is just unbelievable. The way she looks at life, the perceptions that she brings, the perspectives that she brings along with her words, just mind blowing. Yeah. I keep thinking, इतना घमंड क्यों है भाई Bollywood को? Literally idiots and morons, no clue about anything other than their own, where should I get my next selfie? Where should I get my next drug fix? Where should I get my... Anyway, I'm so sorry. I decided that I'm going to stay in the zone here, positive zone, and contribute. I just didn't want to muddle this whole thing and no, I'm just going to stay happy here in this zone where I am. I don't want to talk about negative things right now. Just feeling happy today. So, yeah. Whether his books, shirts, home, vehicles are always so curated. The thought, the meaning behind it, the mind from beyond. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And everything seems to be by design, right? Everything seems to be intentional. Because he wanted it to be in his life, kind of, the shirt, the book, the his surroundings and everything. Of course, the people, they just lodged themselves into his life without... Oof, again, I don't want to get into any kind of negative ideas now. Just want to relax today. Feeling so happy about this whole thing. So, okay, so Lonji ji, hope you're feeling well. That's what Monica ji writes. Okay, Ashnuji has an idea. Perhaps we can all pick a book of his choice to read, have a discussion once a month. Oh my gosh, that will be so cool. Yeah, I'm ready for it. Something to ponder perhaps could be interesting discussions, and keep away SSR with us and to enlighten. Yeah, I mean, that was the whole idea here, because I was just exploring on the idea that what was so fascinating about this child, what was so fascinating about this boy, that was just so charismatic, so energetic, so childlike. And one of those pictures that I was just showing earlier, he's always look at this one, so cheerful and just so chilled, just childlike, right? So I think that is what we lose as we grow. We just forget that childlike enthusiasm about us. And I think this might be the Asian Paints video, but I cannot be sure. But yes, Ashnaji, that can be something that we can do. We can discuss, or, if people don't have the time to read the full book or whatever, just the idea or the concept, if you can just bring, and we can just keep talking about it. Any idea, we can talk about astrophysics, or if anybody is, the MI or ML, excuse me, machine learning or AI, I can talk about it. Anybody who knows a little bit more about astrophysics can talk about that topic. Anybody who's talking about, he loves nature. He used to love nature a lot. So we can talk to people who, who are in that space. So yeah, thank you for that idea, Ashnoji. Neelma ji, hello. Ela unnaru. Thank you. I don't know any one of them. Okay, so yeah, some of the books, I mean, you just have to... Sorry, I'm just looking at the next comment here. Thali mein chhed. Brain में भी, धर्मा जी, brain में भी बहुत बड़ा छेद है. थाली में छेद. Oh my good lord. Okay, don't even get me started on that थाली में छेद वाली. I just want to hijack one of Varun's sessions one day and just only talk about Thali mein chhed wali auntie ke bare mein, because I'm just sick and tired of her. So I don't know any one of them. Okay, so yes, so yeah, I mean, see, some of the books are I have never heard of some of the books, and some of the books I happen to read because I'm just in that. I have my own life coaching business and everything, so I have to be able to involve myself in some kind of a personal development. Otherwise, it's I cannot thrive in whatever I've taken up. So that's why I know a little bit of these books. And luckily enough for me, this he is already so he's already into all these kind of things, which definitely have a long way to go before I can, aspire to be any of a thinker like him. But so let's just do one more thing, just another 10 more minutes. If anybody has any ideas, Today I cannot do open mic session, unfortunately. I'm just still a little bit under the weather. I just want to take it easy. So let's just explore a few more things here, and we can keep discussing about every one of them. So once again, so this is the intoxilectual book club that Sushant had created on Instagram and Twitter, where he actually tweets about his own bookshelf, like the books on his bookshelf, his thoughts about them, and he also is talking about the different, people who are recommending him something. He retweets them, and some of the comments on them are like just so kind and nice and everything, and that is also part of the charisma of Sushant, right? He was just so nice and endearing and kind to people in his ecosystem, or just even strangers, like any of us fans who are interacting with him. I know a couple of them who had a great fortune of interacting with him on Twitter and Instagram, and it's just it's a lifetime of a memory for them. So if you see, I think Murakami, Norwegian Wood is Haruki Murakami is like this Japanese author who is just very, very widely popular here, especially in America, because and he was also in the running for the Nobel Prize for a long time. And I'm not sure if he ultimately won it or not, but this one is one of his popular books. So, and if you can see, Sushant was equally interested. Some people are biased towards non-fiction, some people are biased towards fiction, but he was actually dabbling in both fiction and non-fiction. I think that's part of the magic with him. So, again, part of like understanding his t-shirts, his philosophy, his ideas, his thoughts. Again, one of the quotes is, perhaps the difference between what is miserable and that which is spectacular lies in the leap of faith, self-musing. So, especially I feel this, it might be very relevant to those of us who are contemplating some kind of change in their life. Some of my friends are going back to work after almost 20 months. And now again, companies are like rethinking their strategy of hybrid work and everything. So some of them are planning to quit because they just like the whole work from home environment and everything. So there's so many people contemplating so many changes in their life right now at the moment around the globe. But, that is the difference, right? Between misery and what is spectacular on the other side of that threshold. Threshold ko Telugu mein it's called Gadapa, but I don't know what it is called in Hindi, if anybody knows. So that threshold is like when you're entering into the house, especially if it's somebody else's house and it's a brand new house and you don't never visited, you have that fear before you enter into that, like you cross that threshold. So, and I think that's what he's saying, once outside on the other side of that doubt and that misery might lie what is spectacular. So I think that's leap of faith. You just still trust the whole situation and you just go. So that's a little bit. Let's see. Once again, so we were just talking about this in Jailbird. He writes, I was making my mind as blank as possible. You see, since the past was so embarrassing and the future so terrifying. So once again, we were just earlier, we were talking about the greatness of Kurt Vonnegut and what makes, so Sushant, just even before the interviewer completes his sentence, like, who is your favorite author or something, he just says immediately Kurt Vonnegut. And it's like, if you read his books, you'll be able to appreciate why, he was just so, let me see if I can pull that picture back. This is the book that we were talking about in Slaughterhouse 5. It's it puts one of the mirrors to Kurt's Vonnegut's writing, because he is, at the same time, he can be present in all the moments of his life. And there is a sideboard thingy. Yeah, this is what we were talking about. You're present in all the moments of your life. So whether it's the past, future, or the present, you are there. It is you who's there. So and that's, I think, what whatever quotes inspire of his, he always keeps mentioning in Kurt Vonnegut from Jailbird. I was making my mind as blank as possible, you see, since the past was so embarrassing. So that's the thing with the mind, right? We are always dwelling in the past and regretting our decisions that have led up to the now. But we are also jeopardizing our now as we are dwelling in the past. And obviously, even if you worry about the future or not, our future is going to be just as uncertain. So nobody knows what is going to happen tomorrow. So why worry? Why not be here in the now? I think this again, he was a mindful person, and I think that's why he might be liking this quote. So we talked about This Will Make You Smarter. Definitely a must read for anybody. Again, this one, yeah, the Marco Polo of Neuroscience by Richard Dawkins. Richard Dawkins has called V.S. Ramachandran this. And I request anybody, who is into just trying to understand the brain or how things work. So Ramachandran, V.S. Ramachandran, he is one of the most underrated neuroscientists of the world. That's what I personally feel like, because he's the one who talked about mirror neurons and phantom limbs and all that. So if you remember what he says, if you have seen that experiment where this person is here and there is a window, so he has this right hand and his left hand stretched out, and there is a fake left hand here. So the left hand is not his real left hand. The person is here, and there is a thing. So if you see, I think there is an experiment where the other person seems to be hitting the fake thing, but you still end up feeling pain because of the way our mirror neurons work. I think I'm not able to explain it correctly, but anybody who wants to check out V.S. Ramachandran's phantom limb experiment, you should just check it out. It's just amazing and fascinating. And this gentleman actually talked about it 30 years ago. And he's just one of the most underrated neuroscientists, I feel like. So that's all I really had. I just showed in your scat. These days everybody keeps wearing shirts. Again, somebody, Nipunji, I think, was saying quantum mechanics ke baare mein he used to talk and everything. And I think, Schrodinger's cat, it is that concept that challenges us to try to understand what is reality and what is fiction. And, it's just, in the end, after those experiments, did the cat survive or something like that? So there are always all these memes and jokes about the Schrodinger's cat. I was seeing a T-shirt of somebody's, and they said, I think, one second. So they said, is this a smile from this side or is this a frown from this side? So it's like, is this some kind of Schrodinger's smile or something like that? That's what they were calling it. So yeah, just The Great Gatsby is also one of, it's kind of melodramatic and I don't know, it's just too Bollywoodish for me. but people might like it, and it is actually it also became a movie and all that, and yeah. I think he likes it. That's why he has posted. Okay, this is a book from, yeah, his bookshelf. Okay, yeah, yes, and this was a movie by Leonardo. No, what is his name again? I don't remember. Yeah, so you can check out. So these are the two links that I am using right now, and this is once in a while. Let's just explore, all these things, and we'll continue the discussion. Just wanted to take 1 hour to get us out into this groove and start thinking about these ideas. Anybody else? Let's see if anybody else has any other ideas. Let's see. Okay. Dheeraj Ji, Saloni Ji, Sushant, divine intellect, like Ramanujam, the great genius mathematician. Yeah, absolutely. And at 33, 34, he was just scratching the surface. Can't imagine 30 years from now where he would have been. With just look at his bookshelf or like anything, just very common with military. Yes, yes. Okay. Oh, okay, Vinita. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm glad that you are also. Yes, it is the V.S. Ramachandran's that phantom limb experiment is very, very popular. Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, we lost Ramanujam. Yeah. Yes, Saloni ji. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm just so excited but that you gave me an opportunity and you're here and watching, and I really appreciate that. And any comments or any feedback, please, you can always, my Twitter is Our Future Strong. I'll just post it here, my Twitter. Please, any feedback, any other ideas? So Judy G was saying that we should continue talking about one topic or one book or one concept at a time and just keep brainstorming, and we can do open mics and we can just like hang out. Uh, don't worry about giving me any negative feedback. I only want negative feedback because it just helps me grow. Nothing to take personally. It's all good. So that is this is my account, my Twitter. If anybody wants to give any DM me any messages or anything, don't worry. I also get a fair share of opinions and suggestions and galis and all that. So it's all good. No problem. Okay. So thank you. Over and out. I will see you guys hopefully next week. Sorry, I've been under the weather, just trying to manage a few things. Thank you, Monica Ji. Thank you for taking value out of this. It's just my pleasure and my honor to be going through, some of his. Just always, like many of us have these regrets of wish I would have known him, you know, when he was alive, kind of a sentiment I have for this child. He had so much potential. So, okay. Until the next discussion, over and out. Thank you, Saloni ji. Thank you so much. You too. Take care. Thank you, Judy ji. Thank you. Vinita ji says, okay, so our country needs better heroes and inspiration instead of fawning over some celebs. I wish for my country to spend time in books such as these. Yeah, absolutely. And that is where we are taking the narrative here, Vinita. So, Shnu ji, thank you so much. And thank you. Thank you. Yes. So, Vinita, yes, this is also part of the whole changing the narrative here, right? Because the way we are entertaining ourselves, the way we are educating ourselves, and the way we are engaging online, we are not just sitting passively in front of a TV or a machine and just consuming. We don't want to do that anymore. And thanks to our awakening and thanks to Sushant's, waking us up literally from our slumber, we are here. So we are not going to go back, never ever. So yeah, just want to run a few of his pictures and then leave. So if you have any takeaway from here, please pick up one book that you can see here and just get some value out of it, and see what you can do and implement it. And if you can come back and share how you have started implementing it in your own life, that will be awesome. Thank you, Dharmaji. Thank you so much. Thank you. I will also start condensing what I'm learning and how I'm putting them into practice in my own life. One thing that I'm doing is believing in the concept of free education, and barter system is coming our way. Barter system is how we traded over millennia, over generations, until this concept of money came into the whole world and took away the joy of giving each other freebies and just enjoying what the other person had. So my idea is Sushant's dream of giving free education. So I want to be able to contribute in a very small way, however I can, to his dream. So that's where I am putting it into practice. Vinita says, absolutely, what we watch and hear has a real effect on our mind, and as a consequence of on our life. A conscious decision to spend time in a meaningful way is the key for our future. Absolutely. And intentional living, right? You can either sleepwalk through life or just live intentionally. What are you choosing? So that's the whole idea here. Okay. So thank you everyone for indulging me. Thank you. Just his handwriting, I mean, everything. I can just keep on talking about this fellow like over and over again. Look at his handwriting, just as beautiful as his mind. So, Secret Principles of Genius. He gave Shraddha Kapoor a book. Oh, Lord. Okay. I hope she read at least one page of it. Well, okay, I'm trying to not say anything bad. Excellent. So this is not the real Instagram account. That's what I just figured out. But this seems to be the real Instagram account. Excuse me, Twitter account of his. So, oh, the beginning of infinity. We're going to talk about all these in the future. Okay. Plan to read David Christian's the origin story. Oh, the origin story. Yes, 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 yes. It is actually, hold on. I think I just saw it also here. Oh, I think, okay, sorry. I was thinking about beginning of infinity. Okay, never mind. So I'm going to make a note of that. David Christian's The Origin Story. Okay, thank you so much, everyone who actually contributed and gave me ideas and everything. I'm also going to take it forward, and hopefully we'll continue this idea, and we'll also inspire each other in this journey, and whatever Sushant wanted for us, for our collective future, we are going to be doing it. So thanks to SSR, I got interested in that topic. Okay, excellent. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, over and out, guys. Thank you so much. Until next time.